Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something crucial for UK workplaces, the Health and Safety Executive, the HSE.
That's right. Lots of listeners ask about them, especially their impact, on industries like construction.
Exactly. So we've gathered, well, a range of sources, official docs, some really quite striking case studies to unpack who they are
What they do, their powers.
and how it all plays out in the real world. That's the mission for this deep dive.
Okay, so starting point. Who are the HSE?
Fundamentally, they're Great Britain's national regulator for health and safety at work, also illness related to work.
Yeah, their core mission, it's pretty straightforward, really.
Yeah.
Protect people, protect places.
Ultimately helping everyone lead safer, healthier lives. You could sort of see them as the guardians of workplace well-being.
Guardians is a good word. It implies authority.
Oh, definitely. And our sources really back that up. They have significant powers.
Like what specifically?
Well, they can conduct spot checks, unannounced.
Like, turn up anytime.
Yeah, and they can involve the police if things get difficult. They can examine pretty much anything on a site, documents, equipment.
And even take things away for closer inspection.
Exactly. Take items away for examination. It's a serious amount of power aimed at ensuring rules are followed and people are kept safe.
Okay, so that's the who and the authority.
Yeah.
But what about the what? What do they actually do day to day?
Good question. Let's dig into their practical roles. What does being these guardians involve on the ground?
Well, their functions are pretty specific. They carry out investigations, obviously, when something goes wrong.
Like an accident.
Precisely. Or a near miss, even. They also check the records that companies are legally required to keep.
Paperwork trails.
Yep. And then there are the notices we hear about. They issue improvement notices
Ah,
and the more serious prohibition notices.
we should definitely break those down.
We will. Plus, importantly, they also give guidance and advice. It's not all about enforcement.
Right, the proactive side.
Exactly. But if laws are broken, they do have the power to prosecute. They can take people or companies to court.
Okay, so investigations, checks, notices, guidance, and legal action as a last resort. Let's talk about those notices. An improvement, notice what triggers that.
An improvement notice happens when an HSE inspector finds something that's breaking health and safety law, a specific problem.
So a breach.
Yes.
Right.
And the notice basically says you need to fix this, and it gives the employer a deadline, a set amount of time to sort it out.
Okay, so it's a formal nudge, fix this by this date.
Pretty much. It outlines what's wrong and what needs to be done to comply.
Got it. But then you mentioned prohibition notices. They sound stronger.
They are much stronger. They're used for really serious risks, like situations where there's a genuine risk of someone suffering a major injury right now, imminent danger.
Okay.
And crucially, a prohibition notice stops the work immediately.
Stops everything on the spot.
Yes, all work related to that specific risk has to cease until the problem is fully fixed and made safe. No arguments.
Wow. That's a powerful tool. Immediate stop work order.
It has to be for those high-risk situations.
Yeah. Okay, so enforcement tools are clear. But you also mentioned guidance, like those approved codes of practice, ASOPs.
That's right. ASOPs are a really important part of their guidance role.
Our sources mentioned one for woodworking machinery. What makes these ASOPs special? They have some legal weight, don't they?
They do. An ACOP gives practical advice on how to comply with the law. Now, the code itself isn't the law,
Right.
but it has this special legal status. If you're prosecuted for a breach and it's shown you didn't follow the relevant ACOP,
Then you're in trouble.
well, the court will find you at fault unless you can prove you complied with the law in some other way that was just as good or better.
I see. So following the ACOP is basically the benchmark. You're expected to meet those standards.
Exactly. It makes compliance clearer for employers and employees. They publish loads of other guidance too. Leaflets, website info.
So support is there. But if guidance and notices fail or if something really bad happens, it comes back to prosecution.
It can, yes.
Who can actually end up in court? Is it just the company owner?
No, it's broader than that. The HSE can prosecute the employer, sure, but also individual employees.
Really? Employees too?
Yes, if their actions led to a breach. Also, self-employed people, subcontractors in construction, for example.
Right. That makes sense.
And potentially anyone else involved in the process, depending on their responsibilities. It reflects that safety is everyone's job.
Okay, this is making sense. Let's maybe look at some real cases, see how this all works in practice.
Good idea. Case studies really bring it home.
First one, a metalworking lathe. A worker got serious hand injuries. What happened there?
Yeah, this was a nasty one. The investigation found the lathe was unguarded, properly dangerous.
Unguarded machinery. Basic stuff, really.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
And the worker hadn't had proper training on how to use it safely.
Oh, dear. So, multiple failings. What did the HSE do?
Well, they investigated thoroughly, found breaches of PURE, that's the provision and use of work equipment regulation.
PURE, right. Key regulations for equipment safety.
Absolutely. So they issued an improvement notice first, demanding proper guarding and updated training.
Did the company comply?
Well, the incident had already happened. The failings led to prosecution. The firm was fined £20,000.
20,000 pounds.
And the worker needed extensive surgery, a long time off work, a life-changing injury.
Terrible.
And this case became, quite significant for the HSE. They used it in campaigns to highlight the absolute need for risk assessments, proper machine guarding, maintenance, and staff training. It showed how neglecting the basics can have devastating consequences.
A stark reminder. Okay, next case. Working at height, a roofer fell, almost 6 meters.
Yes, through a fragile roof light, another area where risks are incredibly high if not managed.
What went wrong here? Was it lack of gear?
Completely. The HSE investigation found there was basically no fall protection, no guardrails around the work area, no safety nets below, the worker wasn't wearing a harness.
But a fragile roof.
Nothing adequate, no. And the risk assessment was judged totally insufficient for the job.
So, HSE action.
Again, an improvement notice was issued demanding they sort out their risk assessments and implement safe systems for roof work immediately.
And prosecution followed.
Oh, yes. The company was prosecuted under the Work at Height Regulations 2005, fined £160,000 plus costs.
A much bigger fine that time.
Reflecting the severity and, frankly, the blatant nature of the failings. Working at height dangers are very well known.
And the poor roofer.
Suffered multiple fractures, facing long-term mobility problems. Another life seriously impacted.
It just reinforces how vital that planning stage is.
Absolutely. This case hammered home that working on fragile surfaces without proper protection is just not acceptable. A clear breach. The HSE uses cases like this constantly to push their fall prevention messages.
Okay, those two really show the enforcement side, the consequences of getting it wrong. But what about that guidance role? You mentioned they advise firms.
Yes, let's look at a different scenario. A small construction firm doing a domestic extension.
Right.
They were actually unsure about the specific fire safety measures they needed. Things like what type of fire extinguishers, escape routes.
So they reached out to the HSE? Or did the HSE find them?
In this instance, the HSE provided direct advice. It might have been following a query, or perhaps during a site visit focusing on guidance.
And what was the advice?
They guided them on selecting the right fire extinguishers for the risks involved, explained the need for a suitable fire risk assessment, and advised on escape routes and signage. Practical, specific help.
And the outcome?
The builder took the advice on board, implemented the measures, and importantly, made sure their subcontractors knew about them too.
Ah, spreading the knowledge.
Exactly. It's a great example of the HSE helping a smaller business understand and meet its legal duties before anything goes wrong. Prevention in action.
That's a much more collaborative picture. But sometimes, even with HSE involvement, things can go badly wrong, can't they?
Unfortunately, yes. Let's take a final case. A warehouse conversion project.
Okay, what happened?
Big fire safety problems. The fire service initially raised concerns, and the HSE got involved. They found major breaches during the conversion work.
Such as?
No proper fire detection or alarm system installed for the construction phase. Escape routes were inadequate.
In a multi-story conversion, that sounds risky.
Extremely. And crucially, the way the work was being phased meant fire compartmentation wasn't being maintained. A fire could have spread rapidly through the entire building. 6 floors.
Right. Compartmentation is key to stopping fire spread. So HSE action, this sounds serious.
It was. An immediate prohibition notice was issued. Stop work. Right now. Until proper fire precautions are put in place.
So that immediate stop order we talked about earlier.
Exactly. They also issued an improvement notice requiring a proper fire management plan for the rest of the project.
Did the company stop work then?
This is the alarming part. Despite the prohibition notice, they carried on working without fixing the fire safety issues.
They ignored a prohibition notice.
They did, which is a very serious offense in itself.
I can imagine. So prosecution was inevitable.
Absolutely. The company was prosecuted for multiple offenses under the CDM Regulations 2015, the Construction Design and Management Regs.
Ah, yes, the CDM regs. They cover safety right from the design stage, don't they?
They do, integrating safety throughout the project lifecycle. The company was found guilty and fined £165,000 plus costs.
Another significant fine. What are the key takeaways from that one?
Several things. One, the critical need to plan fire safety from the absolute start of any construction project, especially complex ones like conversions. Two, it shows the power of a prohibition notice to halt genuinely dangerous work.
And three.
Three, and this is crucial, it shows that ignoring HSE enforcement action will lead to severe penalties. They don't issue these notices lightly.
What a range of scenarios. It really paints a picture of the HSC, doesn't it? They're this national regulator tasked with protecting people and places.
Trying to help everyone have safer, healthier working lives.
And they do it through this kind of balancing act, offering guidance, like with the small builder.
Proactive support, yeah.
But then bringing down the hammer with improvement notices, prohibition notices, and ultimately prosecution when necessary, like with the lathe or the warehouse fire risks.
It's that mix of prevention and enforcement. They have to adapt to the situation. What this deep dive really shows, I think, is how dynamic they are. They learn from incidents, they target specific risks, they use everything from advice leaflets to court action.
Turning lessons learned into national campaigns and targeted inspections, it's quite a responsibility.
It absolutely is. So now that you, listening, have this hopefully clearer picture of the HSE's role, their powers, how they operate, maybe think about this.
Go on.
How does knowing this change how you view safety signs on a building site you walk past? Or maybe the procedures in your own workplace? Does it make you think differently about who is responsible and what might happen if things aren't right?
Food for thought. What else might you want to dig into now about keeping workplaces safe? Good question to end on.